Yesterday, Joe Biden did another event at the Global Fund, and he literally started walking off stage. He did not know where he was. He looks like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, just wandering around a room, not knowing what's going on. I'm sorry, it's embarrassing. And there are lots of reasons for people to have been embarrassed over their presidents over the course of the last couple of decades, but it is quite embarrassing that the president of the United States, who is pushing for world-changing utopianism, is in fact a senility-ridden elderly gentleman. It really is not great.
Where am I going? Is there a ghost? Should I turn around? I'm staggering. Do I stay here? I can barely walk.
Mr. President, thank you.
Somebody's talking to him from the other end. Oh, there's someone talking to me.
At the end of
Is it God?
such a momentous event,
The
the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the
stand here.
millions
I don't know what to do.
whose lives
Still
will be
turning
saved,
around, still trying to
for the communities where life will be transformed. Thank you.
He's still
Thank you,
talking to me?
President Biden.
Am I supposed to stand here? Do I go back to the...
By the way, this guy, just going to point out, Karine Jean-Pierre, his own press secretary. Remember on Sunday, Joe Biden said COVID is over. You remember that? Well, Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about Joe Biden saying that since the entire administration was like, no, Joe, don't do that. Oh, no. And the reason they're very upset is because Joe Biden used COVID as the hook for the student loan bailout. He said, because of COVID, everybody needs to have their student loans rambadooshed. And then he's like, but also COVID doesn't exist. Go, oh, no, Joe. What did you do? So his entire administration ran out there screaming and waving their hands around to try and distract. Well, no, Joe didn't mean that. What he really meant is that COVID is ongoing. So Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about that. And being wildly untalented as she is, she answered on MSNBC that Joe didn't mean that. He was distracted by shiny immobile cars. I'm not kidding. This is their answer. This is their answer to the incompetence of the president of the United States. The president of the United States is like a small child who is distracted by bubbles at the preschool.
The president also in the 60 Minutes interview said that the pandemic is over. There's been quite a bit of pushback.
Just to step back for a second, what we saw during that interview, 60-minute interview, when he made those comments, he was walking through the Detroit car show, the halls of the Detroit car show, and he was looking around. We have to remember the last time that they had held that event was 3 years ago. Even as we're talking about UNGA, the president's going to speak shortly, as I just mentioned, that hasn't been held in person for about 3 years as well. So we are in a different time. He's been very consistent about that. And the reason why is because we are now prepared.
So
we are now
just
ready.
To get this
we
straight,
know
you have to remember
how
the
to
context.
deal with
Joe
this
Biden was
pandemic.
walking through an empty room where nothing was happening, but there were cars. And we know Joe Biden, that dude loves shiny objects. And it's amazing. He's like a dog with squirrels. You put him in a room with anything that has like a bit of chrome on it, and he's just like, oh, look at COVID's over. Genius stuff. Probably we should let these geniuses run the global economy, probably. That's the best thing that we should probably do. When Harry's Razors pulled its ads from our site, we decided to fight fire with fire. That's how Jeremy's Razors was born. Truthfully, sticking it to a woke company is its own reward, but now we're taking it to a whole new level with the Jeremy's Razors contest for the car. So you remember that commercial that Jeremy did where he was driving around a McLaren 600 LT? You remember that? You can win that car. Here's how it works. For every person you refer, whether they buy a Jeremy's Razor kit or a Daily Wire annual membership, you get points in the race to win the God King's McLaren. That's right. You might win a car that goes from 0 to like 180,000 miles an hour in about 3 seconds. Someone in this audience has the fortitude to win this thing. It would make my day if you did. To sign up, go to jeremy'srazors.com/play. I promise you, this is the last time we're going to be giving away an object that is worth probably $250,000. We're not going to be doing that very often. The competition for the car ends November 1st, 2022. Get started today. See terms and conditions for complete details at jeremy'srazors.com/referral terms. The program is open only to legal U.S. residents residing in the U.S. D.C., excluding residents of Colorado, Connecticut, Maryland, Puerto Rico, and U.S. territories and possessions 18 and older. Remember, friends don't let friends shave with woke razors. Also, my book club, Ben Shapiro's book club, it's back tonight for a new episode, 8 p.m. Eastern on dailywireplus.com. This month's book is All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren, the best political novel of all time. Great novel about America and the meaning of politics. You have to be an all-access member to join in on the fun. So head on over to dailywireplus.com, become a member today. Join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so as Joe Biden wobbles around, one of the people who has been most rumored on the Democratic side of the aisle to be throwing his hat in the ring is Gavin Newsom. There's only one problem for Gavin Newsom, right? The governor of California. He's very bad at governing. People have been fleeing his state en masse. I know because I'm one of the people who fled his state. We took our company, which then had something like 90 employees. Now we have 300 employees over in Nashville, Tennessee. Those would all be employees paying taxes in California if it weren't for somebody like Gavin Newsom. I took my immediate family. I took my in-laws. I took my parents. I took 2 of my sisters. And pretty much everybody moved to Florida. But Gavin Newsom, again, refusing to acknowledge the roots of reality, his own bad policy. Here he was yesterday in what has to be one of the best examples of political gaslighting I've ever seen. He's asked about why so many people and companies are leaving California. And he's like, well, it's probably because of immigration policy from Trump. I didn't cross the border at any point. I was born in California. I spent nearly my entire life in California. So no, that would be a no on that, Gavin Newsom. Here we go.
Are more people leaving California for Texas or leaving Texas for California?
Well, we lost about 182,000 folks in the last census.
But how do you explain that against the backdrop of those very remarkable statistics you just cited?
Many factors, and there's been 2 deep analysis that drives the number one factor. The vast majority, almost the entire amount, impacted because of the visa policies in the Trump administration. I mean, our formula for success is getting first-round draft choice around the rest of the world. I mean, we're as dumb as we want to be. This whole damn border debate is made up.
The border debate is made up, he says, as 2 million people cross the southern border. Also, people did not leave. I'm one of the people who left. Business people are not leaving California because of visa policies from Trump. Those are national policies. Why would that disproportionately affect California such that businesses are relocating from San Francisco to Austin, Texas? He has no explanation for this. The real reason, of course, is because he's run the state into the ground, not just Gavin Newsom. I mean, blaming Gavin Newsom uniquely would be foolish. It's the California legislature. It's Governor Jerry Brown. It's been decades of bad governance from California. The latest example, of course, is the energy policy in California. The editorial board over the Wall Street Journal points out, as if California doesn't have enough wildfire hazards, its drive to banish fossil fuels from the electric grid is creating another. On Tuesday, a Tesla battery at a utility storage site in Monterey County caught fire, triggering the shutdown of the state's scenic coastal highway and shelter-in-place warnings for local residents. California utilities have been installing large-scale batteries to back up renewables and provide power when the sun goes down, as we've been talking about here. But now we're learning that batteries have their own reliability problems. It's not clear how utility PG&E's enormous 182.5 megawatt Tesla battery caught fire on Tuesday, but the site had to be disconnected from the grid. The PG&E facility is located adjacent to another 400 megawatt battery storage site, which has experienced 2 overheating incidents in the past year that forced part of the system to shut down. Lithium-ion battery fires are notoriously hard to extinguish because they burn at extremely high temperatures and produce dangerous fumes. Hence Tuesday's warning by Monterey County officials asking residents to please shut your windows and turn off your ventilation systems. They're turning California into the land of biblical plagues as opposed to perhaps the most beautiful place on planet Earth. Did you know that every single like creates one additional leftist tier? That is just science.